So I recently watched The Batman, which has a really interesting set of characters, and I thought it'd be fun to rank those characters from least favourite to most favourite. This video will contain spoilers for The Batman, so if you don't want any spoilers, just avoid this video, go watch The Batman and come back. But this video is a ranking of the Batman characters from least favourite to most favourite, and who I found most interesting and most fun to watch throughout the movie. So in last place we have Alfred, played by Andy Serkis. He was a good character. There are no bad characters in this movie that I didn't actually enjoy. But on this, based on who's in this movie and the sheer amount of people, well, there's not that many people in the movie, but there's just a really great cast in this movie, like really great set of characters. And Alfred just didn't have a lot to do in this movie. He had some really great moments, like the speech in the hospital with Bruce about his parents, and the bomb scene, that was good. He just didn't have a lot to do in this movie. He had some good moments, just a lot. Andy Serkis plays him very well. He's really good in the role, and I'm excited to see more of him, but he just didn't have much to do in this movie. We didn't really get much depth to the character other than Alfred. He didn't really do all that much with helping with the actual investigation sort of against Riddler, so that's probably why he's lower on my list. It's probably just because he didn't have a lot to do. So he was still an interesting character. It's really fun to watch and really see what comes next with his character. But yeah, at this point, after the first movie, he was my least favourite character in the movie. Next up in 5th place we have the Penguin, who is played by Colin Farrell. He's fantastic in this movie. Now, see, I like all of these characters that are in my list. That's just how good this movie was. All the characters in my list I least liked. I didn't dislike any characters. And the fact that the Penguin is in 5th place and I'm still saying how great he was and how great Colin Farrell was in this movie. He was so good. You can barely tell that that's Colin Farrell. They've done such an amazing job with the makeup and prosthetics and stuff and the way he plays him and the way he walks and talks, he's actually so fantastic in this movie. And honestly, the main reason he's above Alfred is because of how amazing Colin Farrell played him and how amazing he looks. So that's why he's in this spot. But he was also very funny throughout the movie, like the part where he was waddling like a penguin after Jim Gordon and Batman were just interrogating him, and he has the funny lines and stuff, and I love his accent. He was really a cool and interesting character, and I'm very excited for his HBO Max series that he's getting, which is a spin-off of this, and he's going to be in it, and it's centered around him. I'm very excited for that, because he was a really cool character in this movie, and I found him really interesting. But he was not the main villain. He was a side character. He wasn't the main threat of this movie, so that's why he's number 5 on my list. Next up we have Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon, which you wouldn't think Jeffrey Wright would be, like Jim Gordon. You wouldn't, when you think of Jim Gordon, you don't think Jeffrey Wright, but he is amazing. He's so good as Jim Gordon. He's definitely my favourite Jim Gordon out of all the other ones, out of Gary Oldman and J.K. Simmons. This is definitely my favourite version of him. He was so good in this movie. He was Batman's, Batman's partner, sort of. And I like their relationship and their banter, sort of. I like how Gordon calls Batman man and he calls him chief and stuff like that. It wasn't really a friendship, it was more of a working partner relationship, but I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed he's got something intimidating about him, which he brings that sort of aspect, when he's talking to Penguin, he's really sort of intimidating, and he brings a presence with him that's really cool. And I also love that scene in the police station where Batman punches him. And there's one scene that I love and there's one line that I love. It's when Jim Gordon says to Batman, "You're the only one I trust," because of how corrupt the police system is. That does show how good their partnership is and how good their relationship is. I wouldn't call it a friendship yet, maybe in the next movie or something, but I think their banter together is really well and he works really well. The only reason he's on this list is the only reason he's number 4 on this list is because of how good the next 3 characters are. It doesn't take anything away from this character, it just adds more to those other 3 characters on my list. That's why he's number 4 on my list. In the 3rd spot on my list is Selena Kyle, Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. She's fantastic. This is 100% my favorite Catwoman out of Michelle Pfeiffer, Anne Hathaway, and I don't think anybody likes Halle Berry's Catwoman. Like, no offense to Halle Berry, but I don't really think anyone's a big fan of her Catwoman. But yeah, Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman is by far my favorite Catwoman. She's just, I spoke a little bit about this in my review, but she brings such a like feline physicality to it, which really makes her so much more interesting. And I love that she has her own ambitions in this movie, and it's not just, oh, I need your help, you need to help me, and then she helps him. No, she has her own goals, she has her own ambitions, which is really, really, you know, it's really good that they've done that, because it would sort of make a character less interesting if she was just, you know, there just solely just to help Batman. No, she's there for her own reasons, which is really interesting, and I think that she worked really well in this movie. Zoe Kravitz plays her so exceptionally. Like, you really believe that Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. Zoe Kravitz was definitely born to play Catwoman. I mean, I haven't seen her in anything this good ever. Like, I've seen her in a few good things where she's good, but I've never seen her this good, and I've never seen Catwoman portrayed this good. I love the way she looks. I love the short hair. I love the long nails. I love that line where Bruce says, "You've got a lot of cats," and she says, "I have a thing for strays," which is sort of like a thing about Batman. I think she was just exceptional. And the stuff with Falcone and being her dad, I loved that scene where she had the pink hair and she was going to shoot him. I thought that whole scene was cool. She was really great. But the next two characters on my list are exceptional, and you're going to find out why I think that. In second place on my list, we have the Riddler, Paul Dano's Riddler. He was incredible. I loved this new take on Riddler and how he's sort of like the Zodiac killer, and he's not like a goofy character like Jim Carrey's Riddler. He was intimidating, he was scary, he was menacing, it was disturbing. It was so amazing. That opening scene where he's like standing behind the I think it's the mayor, I actually can't remember very well, but he's standing behind it and he's lit up only by the TV. Like, it honestly, like, it scared me. I was in the movies and it really, really scared me when I saw that, because that's just how like intimidating and like sort of scary his screen presence is, based on, you know. And I love his costume, the green overcoat, the green mask, the glasses, the covered in cling wrap. It's really amazing. I really love this spin on how he's like a serial killer. Like, he's like a obsessive, you know, Zodiac killer sort of character. I love his riddles. His riddles. I love the cards that say "to the Batman." I actually love it. I love how Batman was a part of this whole thing as well. I love how Riddler, and at the end, Riddler thought that Batman would have been on his side. He thought Batman would have agreed with his methods and what he was doing. But he was just amazing. And that scene in the prison, Paul Dano was so fantastic at you know, being creepy and weird and sort of weirding you out. But yeah, his motivations were also really, really interesting, about how the whole orphanage was going to be renewed and then it was left in the dust and he was just left there. I thought that was really interesting. His motives were just so fascinating, and he was such a fascinating character. And I really hope we get to see more of him in the future. You know, he was alive at the end of the movie. He was in Arkham. So I really hope we get to see more of him. He was fantastic. Coming in at first place, it's the Batman. Obviously, it's the Batman. Who else would it be? Bruce Wayne, Robert Pattinson, Batman. He is my favorite Batman by far. He is so menacing. He has such a brute force screen presence. When he walks in the room, you can feel how like heavy his suit is. I love everything about it. I love how he's not like a playboy character that Bruce Wayne typically is. I love how he's sort of like a mysterious rich guy that lives in Wayne Manor, and he, you know, attends the funeral. He doesn't say a word at that funeral. I love that. He does not say a single fucking word at that funeral. He's just, you can tell what he's thinking by looking at him. And this is the main thing I like about Robert Pattinson's performance as Batman. You can tell what his emotions are and what he's thinking and what exactly is going through his head just by looking at his eyes, with the mask and without the mask. Such a, you know, gripping performance by Robert Pattinson. He's my favorite Batman. He doesn't need words. Like, he talks throughout this movie, but he doesn't need words to express what he's thinking and what he's feeling. that is what makes Robert Pattinson the best Batman to me, is that he doesn't need words. I'm repeating myself, but his performance with the cowl, without the cowl, is amazing. The thing I love about this Batman, how he isn't a pro at everything. I know I spoke about this in my review, but I just want to talk about it again. He isn't a pro at everything. You know, when he's gliding, he hits the bridge sort of, and he falls, and he like rolls around on the road. That's, you know, he's not a pro. He's starting out. This is like year 2 Batman. And there's a part that I've already said that I wasn't the biggest fan of the car chase, just based on like how it was filmed, and it was hard to tell what exactly was going on. But I love the Batmobile. The Batmobile looks fantastic. That's the part of Batman's character, is the Batmobile, and I love the Batmobile. I love how it's not like a futuristic sort of car. It's a muscle car. It's, you know, a hotted up muscle car. It looks awesome. Robert Pattinson, his whole Batman feel and style is incredible. He brings such a presence with him. He brings such, you know, emotion with his face, you know, like face acting. It's really amazing. And that is why he is my favorite Batman. Alright guys, so that's my ranking of the Batman. As you can see, there were no characters that I disliked. I liked every character because I loved this movie. Let me know your ranking in the comments. I'm really interested to see if you agree or disagree. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.